Okay, I can call the meeting to order. Mr. Maris is here. Is Mr. Garber and Mr. Wagner on Zoom yet?
Not yet. I'll keep an eye out. Oh, Mr. Wagner just.
Okay. And Mr. Garber? Not,
Not yet.
okay, you'll let us know then. So right now, Mr. Maris is here and Mr. Wagner's on Zoom. Mr. Garber, we will let you know about it. So we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, the fifth grade teacher, retired teacher of me says we'll stand up and do that again so I can hear everyone. But we won't do that. I'd like to announce that we had an exec session tonight to discuss a personnel matter immediately before this meeting. And we'll go on. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, incorporating any additions or deletion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Eshelman. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's at least six. Mr. Wagner?
Aye.
7, 8.
And, Mr. Garber. Yes.
Okay, motion carries 9-0. Next is a motion to approve the minutes for the last school board meeting held June 11th, the minutes for the Education Programs Policy Personnel and Legal Committee meeting held June 20th, and the Buildings and Grounds meeting held June 25th.
I did have a question about that. I don't know if that happens afterwards or right now.
Go ahead and ask now.
My question was about at the Buildings and Grounds meeting, we discussed approving the architects at this meeting, but I didn't see it on the agenda. It was pending our solicitor. So I
Right,
didn't.
so it's still being reviewed by the solicitor, so I hope
Ms.
to have it on.
Eshelman, could you use the microphone, please?
I was just asking about the approval of the architects. We said with solicitor information, we would do it at this meeting. So I was just asking for clarification from the administration on where that's at.
Right, so we were gonna do it the next possible meeting, so I'm hoping to have it potentially for the finance committee at the end of this month.
Thank you. That's just what I want to know. Thanks.
Okay, so need a motion to approve those minutes, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Keener. Mrs. Eshelman will second it. Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
In favor.
Okay, motion.
favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. Next, we'll go on to student and staff recognitions, which I believe there's none. And unless I'm missing something, I don't believe student council is here. So we'll move on to residents' requests to speak to the board. Are there any? There's no residents' requests, so I'm not going to read that. We'll move on to the superintendent's report then, which I'll turn it over to Dr. Musser.
All right, thank you, Mr. Donato. Fairly short superintendent's report this evening. It's that time of year again when we have to renew our health and safety plan. We renew this plan every 6 months. We have not made any changes in this plan over the last couple of years, but we are still required to approve this plan. The plan is listed there for your viewing pleasure and will be voted on later in the agenda. Also along these lines, I need some direction from the board at this time for our water lead testing. We've been testing our water over the last number of years. We've had very good results with our newer buildings, pipes. We also obviously are hooked up to city water. So we've had very good results. I just am looking for direction from the board, whether we want to continue the lead testing or we want to just visit this every year and discuss potential reasons why the district would resume lead testing or why the district is choosing not to lead test moving forward. I'm just looking from some direction from the board tonight.
Well, I brought this up before that after seeing lead tests year over year negative, there's no reason to continue lead testing. And so I would recommend that we not spend that small amount of money to continue to test year over year. So we can apply that somewhere else and we can discuss it annually to meet the requirement.
Yep.
And if there would be any compelling reason along the way to do a test, we could do that, but they are no longer making lead pipes. So even in any new construction, that would be a non-issue, and we are on city water where it's tested. So I see zero reason to continue this testing. It's just a waste of taxpayer dollars, frankly.
I agree with Mr. Walgremoot's perspective. There was never any evidence to suggest that this was necessary. There were never any tests in any of our buildings that were anything close to the EPA limits. This is a waste of money and a waste of time.
Mrs. Hall, is there, my mic working? Mike? Okay, now it is. It was. Is there any potential negative impact here? I'm in favor of what Justin and Grant said, but is there a possibly negative where we could be liable if the lead
No,
increase?
I think Mr. Romersky looked into that. I don't think we have any liability for
Okay.
ceasing testing.
And the fact that we've had what, 3 years and there's been non-detect? Yeah, I'm fine with that.
My only question that just came up, just thinking about construction. Would that be something we maybe?
Other
aren't-
things.
I know it's new construction, but I don't know if that would.
New construction was,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that was with
pipe
old
and-
pipes that are very old.
For the members that were on the board, I remember we first started this. The fact is, we didn't expect to have any results because either our buildings have been remodeled or built new. Right, and all the lead, right, things were.
Right. The board really wanted to get a baseline and not just say we're not going to test, get a baseline, run a couple of years of tests, determine that, yeah, what we think is what we have. And then, see if the board wished to continue that testing moving forward. So as of now, I'm hearing that we are in favor of not continuing that testing and then just adding it to our meeting cycle to discuss each year.
Yes, please.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Donato. Thank you so much.
Okay. Moving on to the president's report, just want to announce that we continue to try to work with HEA to find some dates. We don't have any established yet, but we are working to get dates to meet over the summer for contract negotiations, and that's all I have for the president's report. So we'll move on to the representative and adjunct reports. Mr. Keener, Lancaster County Career Technology Center.
Thank you, Mr. Donato. The Joint Operating Committee met on Thursday, June 27th at Willow Street. It was a routine meeting in all respects. There were no student recognition because it was the summer. The next JOC meeting will be August 22nd at Brownstown.
Thank you. Any questions? IU 13,
Nothing new to report.
thank you. Hempfield Rec, this is Brady.
Nothing new.
Okay. Safety and Security, Mr. Garber.
Nothing new to report.
Okay. PSBA. Mrs.
Nothing new. It's summer.
Okay.
It sounds like-
Moving on to the standing committees then, Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Maris.
Yeah, we met on the 25th, June 25th. We had a summer project update on different projects going on. Talked a little bit about the feasibility study, and we also had Mike Kelly from KCBA give us kind of an introduction and thought process as we move forward. I do believe we're planning on meeting the 22nd, Monday at 5 o'clock. Is that right? For a kickoff meeting. So we're hoping as many board members, I believe we're going to have administrators and then principals, administration. So it's going to be a big meeting. So hopefully everyone can make it 5 o'clock, Monday, July the 22nd. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Mr. Wagaman.
I think we kind of covered everything with Mike Kelly and KCBA. We're still waiting on the contract from our solicitor, which Mrs. Hall mentioned earlier. So I really don't have any other updates at this time.
Okay, thank you. Policy, Personnel and Legal, Mr. Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Donato. The Policy, Personnel, and Legal Committee met on June 20th. There were a number of policies advanced for first and second reading, as are indicated on the agenda. And there was a robust discussion about student electronic device usage, where the high school administration and student council provided helpful feedback, after which the board concluded that there was no need to engage in policy development around this issue.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, and I forgot education and programs, Mrs. Shaw.
Thank you. I didn't forget.
Okay,
Uh,
well, I just,
We discussed ESSER spending, or rather, we got a report from Dr. Dandridge about update on our ESSER spending. We will not have a meeting this month. If you have any questions or anything, I refer you back to the minutes that were just approved. Thank
okay.
you.
And if I understand correctly, we're not having education policy, personnel, or legal meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct. So don't come.
don't come. Okay. All right, moving on then, unless there's questions. Personnel action items, need approval for personnel action items B and C. B is the list of goes through from 1 through I'm looking 1 through 10. And C is a list of returning extracurricular employees and volunteers for the upcoming school year. We need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Brady. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
In
Aye.
favor.
I believe that was 2 more ayes, so the motion carried 9-0. Next is financial items B through I, which is contracts, the different financial reports for the district, food service, financial transaction, donations, subrate, support staff adjustments, and adjustments to adult breakfast meal prices.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Wagamuth. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Maris. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
In favor. In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. And last one under financial items is item J, which is Community Service Group Linkage Agreement. For this one, I will be abstaining because I am an employee of Community Service Group, and even though there's no monetary value involved in it, still as an employee, I should abstain from it. And just as a quick review for Community Service Group, I'll let Dr. Mustard quickly just the services.
Sure, they provide our school-based services for the district, and they've done a great job of meeting our need and allowing us to work through pretty much exclusively one company. So we provide them with a room, and they come in and provide counseling services for our students that would not be able to receive them if they weren't receiving them inside the school.
Okay. So need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Brady. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Motion carries 9-0. There's no buildings and grounds action items. And for the end of this, other action items, approval of the first and second readings of the board policy, some more new contracted bus staff so we can get the kids to school when it opens, the health and safety plan, which you talked about, and the status quo resolution.
Mention, I have a point of order
Sure.
before we make a motion here. In reviewing the status quo resolution, it makes perfect sense. It's exactly what we should be doing. However, the language is outdated because it says that it will likely expire, and in fact, it already has expired. If you look at the fourth whereas clause,
The second whereas clause has it correct, I believe.
Yeah, it says it-
It's will expire. In other words, it's just a tense issue. It's a minor scrivener's error.
To be
Whoever
expired.
drafted this, there was a minor drafting error and that we
Can we approve it
I
with
was
that
just gonna-
correction?
I was gonna say, as long as the board's comfortable with making the approval, we'll make the correction.
That's
Thank
what
you.
be corrected. Okay.
Okay. So motion to approve those.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
In favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. And with that, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Keener.
One quick
Second.
question,
Sure.
maybe I missed it, but I thought we were gonna have a discussion on this donations to East Pete Elementary. I thought in board news, Kim and Karen, Mrs. Hall, we're gonna talk about that. Okay.
I think we've already.
There was some,
approved it,
I
haven't
thought
we?
there was something in board news about those donations of the trees and the stencil painting of the playground.
It was just pointing it out, but
Okay,
We've already,
we've already approved it,
Approved it.
so
okay. Need a second for adjournment.
second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0 and we are adjourned.
Have a good evening.